Hello, dear friends. Welcome to this program, our Moments with God. Yes, these moments with God can be also spent here in nature or in a convent like this. Behind me is a convent where I actually live and work as a chaplain for the sisters. And I will tell you in a minute why I have chosen the convent building for today's video. But I hope that through these videos, our Moments with God, you are getting a little deeper into your own selves. That is my hope and that is my attempt. And I do hope that my attempts are bearing some fruits on you and as well as on me, and that we are able to slowly get closer to God every day of our life. And if you like the video, you may please share it with others. Thank you. Today is the 15th of October, and on 15th of October the church celebrates the feast of a famous saint, Saint Teresa of Avila. Saint Teresa of Avila, a Spanish nun who lived in the 16th century, was born in 1515 and died in 1582. That may not be very important for you, but why she is so famous? First of all, she is the first woman doctor of the church. Earlier it used to be always men who were doctors of the church because they had studied so much, they had written so much that their writings could be used as real asset of the Catholic teachings or of the church teachings. And Teresa of Avila also had written a lot. But for a long time they were of course considered important, but nobody had given those writings that much importance until in 1970, Pope Paul VI declared her as the first woman doctor of the church. Why was she woman doctor of the church? First of all, her life as it began was quite simple, and she was interested in, as many other young people already at that time, in worldly things and things like that. And then she of course had an experience of conversion. Then she went and joined a Carmelite convent near her place. And then she lived a Carmel life, but then she became sick. And then she was just going with her health not that very good. But later then she started praying more and more and going into her interior life, which is what I try to tell you, you see, or try to tell us about our spiritual life. So she started searching and went deeper into her spiritual life, and then she realized that what the convent life she was living and the life in the convent as such required a lot of reforms, lot of changes. Remember last week we spoke about Pope John the 23rd, who brought reforms in the church in the last century by calling the Second Vatican Council, and as Pope Francis is doing now by calling the synod that is going on in the church. So what she did was she started reforming brought reforms within the convents, which sisters did not like because they were used to a happy life, they were used to free life, etc. And she said, no, we should go back to what the real Carmelite charism is. And when they were not accepting very much of her teaching, she started founding new convents. This of course is a big convent, and she did not start first with big convent. She started with a small one. This is of course as quite large, as you can see. The convent stretches still there, and then it stretches also here. And you can see that this is really a huge convent. But she started establishing convent after convent, and this reformed way of living the religious life she started. Then she went on and on and on, but then some people began complaining against her. And there came a time when the Pope forbade her to start new convents. Along with her own efforts for reforming the convents for sisters, she also wanted to bring reform in the Carmelites men's order. So she found a good priest by name of John, later who became Saint John of the Cross. His name was also Juan, actually John earlier, and she found him to be a man of prayer, a man of deep spirituality, and she roped him in to bring reforms in the men's church order. And just as it happened with her, it happened also with him. His priests, brothers and congregation men did not like him to bring about reform, because he wanted them to live more like authentic life as Jesus lived. And they became so much against him that they put him in jail. But that is John of the Cross. We'll talk about him at a later time. But there is a lot that we can learn from Teresa of Avila, because her writings have become so famous, they are so deep. And she is famous for writing on mystical life, how one connects with the divine from the interior life. Therefore, one of her famous books is The Interior Castle. That means within us there is a depth where God lives, and we need to get in contact with God, which again is what I tried to say at the beginning of my videos. And then she wrote about these 7 castles, and that is another matter. I don't go into that. Another book, famous book that she wrote was The Way of Perfection. Yes, this was one of her first books, and a great classic, spiritual classic, The Way of Perfection. That means you are not satisfied with what you are and how you are living now, but you must attempt constantly to go higher and to a life of perfection. That means getting closer to God. I am sure you too are interested in making your life as a way of perfection and proceeding slowly or growing slowly more deeply in relationship with God. And if you like the video, you may please subscribe to it. But before I go, I would like to just say what her famous sentence was. And she used to say, "All things are passing. God never changes. Patience obtains all things. Whoever has God lacks nothing. God alone suffices." I will just repeat it quickly once again for you. All things are passing. God never changes. Patience obtains all things. Whoever has God lacks nothing. God alone suffices. I am sure it is also true for you. I wish you all the very best. Thank you.